All right, everybody, welcome back. So we streamed pretty early this morning. I don't know how many of you caught it. It was at like 5:30 this morning. First about hour of Marathon, Bungie's latest for the server slam. Definitely have some thoughts. I might reiterate them. Some thoughts I made earlier too, or some points I made earlier as well. Not just about Marathon, but about, live service games in general, Bungie's outlook on this, and how this game stacks up against what pretty much everybody has picked out as its main competitor, which is Arc Raiders. Even though, I don't know if I really agree with that, but I can see why it's been picked out as its competitor, because what they're looking for, I'm sure, even though, Bungie probably won't come out and say it, is they're looking to steal a lot of players from Arc Raiders, especially for this type of game, extraction shooter. I just don't think, despite Arc Raiders' success, and, Tarkov and Warzone, although Warzone's a little bit different. Warzone's more of the Battle Royale Fortnite format. I just don't think there's an infinite amount of players. And there might be, what they're going to soak up is the Destiny players. Destiny 2 players will probably abandon that game in favor of this game for a little bit. I don't know if they'll stick with it. I don't know. I haven't read up on what Bungie's plans are for Destiny 2. That's my fault. I probably should look into that. Like, are they stopping it? Do they have another expansion planned? Or is it pretty much at its end of life cycle and now Marathon's going to be it? But I have a feeling that's not going to be the case. I think they're going to support both games. And I can kind of explain why. It's because Marathon, it's kind of being built up in the, ever expanding passionate and intelligent, I should say, discourse that X is known for. That this is like the make or break for Bungie. I'll be surprised if that's the case. Having played this only like an hour, I do think there's a lot of content in here. The fact that they're going to sell the game for $40 tells me, and this is me just guessing, but it tells me that this is definitely meant to make Bungie money, but this is not their next great project. This is not, they didn't put all their chips down into this. So I don't know if that means Destiny 3. I don't know if it means a different IP, a new IP. I think they're going to stick with first-person shooters, although they would probably be smart to diversify a little bit and try something else, try something new. I mean, you hate to say it, but like, would Bungie be able to do a Souls-like? And then that's where you've kind of fallen into the trap that a lot of gamers complain about, which is you're chasing the trend. So, every action RPG game now, it's either Persona-like or it's Souls-like, and then there's a roguelite element to it for replayability. And I don't know. I think Bungie should focus on delivering a solid single-player game, because I think that's what this game is missing, and that's why I respect that Bungie only did, or is only going to do, a $40 price point, because they probably recognize that, okay, this is a pure arena loot and shoot shooter, extraction shooter, and we totally skimped out on a story. There's a story here, a live service, quote-unquote story, but there's no single-player campaign, and as a extraction shooter, I don't know, it feels kind of limited. I have no idea, though. I probably should have read. This was really one of those things where okay, this is deconstructor transmitter. Place the correct items in the decon and it will do the rest. It's like, what does that mean? See, I keep getting distracted. But it's, I think they realize that they're not shortchanging their fans, but I just think this is getting blown up so big because it is Bungie. They have such a big reputation. I mean, nothing... I don't know if there was a gaming studio that delivered the way that they did for Halo 1, 2, and 3. Because each one of those was like a game changer in a different way. And it's... and I liked ODST. I thought it was great. I thought Reach was fantastic. And then it kind of drops off. And then, I don't know, 343 I think takes over after that. I have not been impressed with 343's stewardship of the Halo franchise. And then Destiny came out. Now, Destiny is the one where I would have said this is them kind of putting all their eggs in a basket, but nobody really had any doubt. Everybody was kind of like, okay, this is cool. And even Destiny got a little weirder. They were doing aliens. They were doing, whatever. It under-delivered. And it still sold a ton. And, looking back on it, I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. But it's interesting that they kind of, I feel like, cut Destiny's life short just to get Destiny 2 out there under the free-to-play model as basically a cash cow. And, that one at least had some story. But, so here's what's interesting. I guess when people call Destiny 2 a live service game, I feel like you have to, or you should. I don't know if people ever really referred to it as that, though. It was a free-to-play, pay-to-win premium game. But does that mean it's live service? And for that matter, live service, doesn't that just mean any game that's got PvP capabilities and seasons? Doesn't that just make it a live service game? So now, obviously, there's a difference, I think, between what is a live service game and what people call a live service game. So any multiplayer game is a live service game. A live service game, in capital letters, is one that you're being told a story, you're being drip-fed a story that's responding to the actions of the player base, like a Helldivers 2. So I don't even know if you would say Arc Raiders is that. Helldivers 2 is that. Arc Raiders is just a multiplayer game. Now, because of the internet and advanced tech and better technology and everything, developers can deliver patches and update and fundamentally change the games, make them totally new from what they are at launch. But to me, a live service game is a game that's telling a story that's reacting to its player base and what its player base is doing in the game. It's not just, oh, here's a new season. Here's some new maps. There's got to be a narrative that's actively happening for it to really... That's what I think that's... As gamers, I think that needs to be the distinction that's made. Is the game telling a story through reacting to the player's actions in the campaigns, whatever's going on? I think so. I think that's a nice, easy way to differentiate, and it lets games kind of fall off the pressure of being called a live service game, because now I never really know why you would want to... I don't know, I wouldn't want to take on that title. I just would. So I gotta find this decon thing or whatever that is. Oh, should I check my thing first? So, deliver salvage to decon. So that's my baseline for this, evaluating this game, right? So it's like, okay, I don't have a huge... I don't think this is make or break for Bungie. And I think it's being hyped up because of... Well, obviously people had a strong reaction to the plagiarism allegation, and I think people were expecting more from Bungie, which is it's a nice problem to have. And then I think it's the art style. I think this is a very kind of unique, cool, different way of presenting a game. We haven't really, I haven't seen a game like this in a while, or ever really. And it's like the old school MS-DOS and the different, you know, it's very like, ooh, a hacker. Oh, like this what reminds me of like what the early internet was, when every web page was different and they weren't all the same looking. You know, they had, it was just cooler and more unique, and I think that's what they were going for. And I actually like it. I actually like the art style. I think the character models aren't as cool as they could be. I think those are a little weak, but I would say the overall, the UI design and the maps and the enemies and the guns, I think it all kind of looks cool. And again, I've only played an hour. We're about to get into it again. It's just, I think the problem is, to go along with like the hype and everything, it's a shame because like a live service game, like I hope Bungie has a pretty big war chest to try to carry this game for at least a year or two, even if the numbers are pretty meager. This can't be, I don't think it will be, but this can't be a Conquered or a High Guard where you just pull the plug immediately. Now, those games should have pulled the plug. Conquered, I guess I can't really say. I never played it. I didn't even try it. High Guard, I tried. High Guard, I streamed for you guys a couple of weeks ago. High Guard is bad. High Guard is just a bad game. I don't know what they were thinking. I think they were trying to do too much to be unique, but it ended up just being gigantic maps with not enough players, too many systems that didn't really matter. I don't know. I really think they missed on High Guard bad. This game is not a miss. This game is a acclamation. Gonna be pretty hardcore. Do I think I'm going to buy this game after doing the Server Slam? I don't. Only because I don't think I would have the time needed to level this game up, play the way, or get my character to where it needs to be in practice to have fun. I just don't. I think this game is going to be, it's going to be like your game. If this is your game, I think you're going to have a lot of fun with it. If this is a game that you're just going to play once or twice a week for an hour or two, I don't think you're not going to like this game. So you almost need to be, in my opinion, ready to commit serious hours to this game. I do think that means you're going to see a lot of streamers are going to get way into this game. I do think this game will end up being like a competitive game. Obviously, I don't think it's going to replace CSGO, you know. Could it replace Valorant or Apex Legends or any of those other hero shooters? It could. This is the interesting thing with them doing, like, oh, it's a hero shooter with an extraction. Now, I don't know how you really, I guess you can't really make it PvP competitive because of that. Like a tournament, really? I don't know. It would be interesting. Solos, you could probably do it as solos, but then, like, who wins? You know, like, how would you even figure that out? But I think this is Bungie realizing, okay, we've got Destiny 2, which apparently is dying. I have no idea. Again, I just saw some people on X basically saying, well, with the Server Slam this weekend for Marathon, Destiny 2's numbers on Steam anyway had dropped to like under 10,000 active players. And, you know, the fact that there's only 10,000 on Steam, even though Destiny 2, I'm sure, is much bigger on consoles than it is on Steam. But yeah, that's it. I don't know. I don't know what Bungie's thinking, like what they would want their player numbers to look like. my assumption is they want to be hitting between 100 and 200,000 concurrent players pretty much around the clock. And if they could do that, then they can build momentum. If they end up launching, and it's tough because I think you really only have the numbers on Steam. So for Steam, maybe, Steam, they're probably looking for 100,000. And then they're going to figure, okay, we'll have still the majority will be playing on PS5 or Xbox. And we'll take it from there. And, them having the price point, the $40 price point, smart. But they might have made, it's just my opinion, I think there's so much content, it seems like. And being a Bungie game, I think there's going to be a lot of competitive players wanting to play this game and excel at it. And because it's first person, I just think first person games tend to not be as buggy. And there tends to be not as much cheese and like cheap shots that you can do like you can do in a third person game. So I do think there's space for both games to exist, for Arc Raiders and for this to exist. Like, I gotta say, I'm sorry I like so much, but like, so it's weird because I would say all three of these games right now, I'm talking Marathon, Arc Raiders, and Helldivers 2, just because Helldivers 2 has kind of pulled me back in. Helldivers 2 has the narrative down. They figured it out. They figured out how to build a community, how to do updates the right way, how to keep that community engaged, even though it's been 2 years now. You're still rocking hundreds of thousands of players. When major orders drop anyway, sometimes you hit a lull in between, but if the right one catches, you're getting big bumps and tons of people playing it. Arc Raiders is definitely more of probably the conventional extraction shooter, where it's got the kind of unique setting, the bots are interesting, and then pitting the players against each other in the third-person way, and then this is your first-person version. Now, I would say both Arc Raiders and Marathon don't have a narrative. Yeah, I can read paragraphs here and there every, couple of screens. That, to me, that doesn't count. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, if you look at Helldivers 2, you know what I mean. You get bulletin updates. There's the news updates in real time, or every couple of major orders. The map changes depending on whether the player base succeeds or fails. It's very well done. Helldivers really did kill that. Gameplay wise, I would probably say Arc Raiders is more interesting than Helldivers. Helldivers is pretty straightforward. It can get repetitive. This, I don't know. I haven't played it enough. But I don't know. I don't know if this will have... This is probably more interesting, more fast-paced than Arc Raiders can be. I think Arc Raiders can be an absolute nightmare or frenetic. Like Helldivers can be that too. This, I don't know. This, I think, is going to be much more of a in-the-middle type game. So, I don't know. I go back and forth with Bungie too. Like, I don't know. Are they